Alright, welcome to John's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple and tasty homemade black tea bread. And so I'm going to start by making black tea. I already preheated the pot a bit. So you just bring your water up to temperature and then put it into the teapot and make sure to give it a few moments so the teapot can warm up. The reason why you do that is because black tea is best made at about 100 degrees Celsius, so boiling water. And so just take a spoon. I'm using a Harney and Sons tea. I'm definitely not trying to, sell you tea right now, but this is a pretty good black tea, Earl Grey Supreme. And then I just take a pretty big spoon here and take a generous helping because you want the tea to be quite strong. Put it in your teapot and then go ahead and pour in your hot tea. So this is at 100 degrees Celsius. You just kind of slowly pour it in and let it loosen the leaves up as you're doing it. Fill up the teapot and then put the cap on. I like to take a kitchen towel and just cover the teapot. That'll keep it temperature a bit longer and at 100 degrees Celsius. I think that's like 212 for our Fahrenheit friends. For longer. So while that is steeping at 100, I'm going to come over here and pour in some flour. I've got just some fairly basic Whole Foods organic flour, all-purpose, nothing too special. You can get bread flour. It certainly does taste better. I'm not really sure why. Probably I could Google that, but this tastes good also. So I'm gonna do that. And I also had it in my kitchen already, so that's always helps to have it on hand. Extra flour doesn't help. So I'm not like super scientific here. I just do 2.5 cups. By the way, I got this recipe from my grandma, so love you, Grandma, if you are gonna watch this. So that's about 2, and then I really just kind of eyeball what a 1/2 cup looks like there, dump it in. Not scientific. Right, I'm going to put that aside now. Ooh, forgot my yeast. But no worries. I just use a really basic, whatever you can find. This one is Rapid Rise. I suppose it does. So, yeah, just chop the top, dump it in. Easy does it. Yep. Again, I'm really not super scientific here. Just some basic white sugar. And take the same spoon. I don't know. It's about 4 tablespoons, I'd say. You should aim for if you want it really mild, not really sweet. Is 4. If you want it a bit sweeter, then go for 6. So this is about 2 tablespoons each. Round up tablespoon there. Dash of salt. I just have some. I actually have some popcorn salt, but it makes no difference. It's just more granulated than regular salt. A little finer, not a big deal. Splash that on there. Alright, now I'm down to the oil. Okay, so I have some butter here. I just use whatever butter you can find in your area. Chop off about 1 to 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I mean, ideally you would have like room temperature so it's already soft. I didn't do that, so I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 10 seconds to loosen it up a bit. You can also use vegetable oil if you want to use vegetable oil, that will work. I actually use vegetable oil, just a tiny bit of that, to coat your bread pan so it's easier to take the bread out later. Just going to go ahead and put this aside for a moment here while I pour in the oil to the pan. Get that ready. Just a bit, not a lot, will do. And right, that's enough. You can use, there's probably a lot of different ways you could do this, but I just use my hands. Go ahead and wash my hands ahead of time. Clean towel here. All right, so just spread the oil around. Again, you can, I'm sure they sell things for this. You could also take a napkin and rub it around with a napkin, but this works perfectly fine for me. All right, that's well coated. All right, now we're cooking. So next step, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the butter into, that's soft. Drop the butter into the flour there. Set this aside. So go ahead and put that away and done with the butter. And the tea, the most important part. So this has been steeping long enough now that it should be quite tasty. And I'll drink the rest of it, of course. All right, so just pour out yourself a full cup. This is just 1 cup of black tea. And there we are. Easy does it. Drop it in. I like to melt the butter with the hot tea there. Melty, melty. And then I'll take that same spoon from earlier and start getting the bread and the hot tea to come together. I think I'm done. Alright, once the bread gets, a bit of consistency to it, mixed in well enough with our clean hands, just washed a minute ago, I just go ahead and start kneading it by hand. I'm sure there's a lot of different ways it can be done. You can use a machine. I don't know. I've made bread with a machine before. I don't really like the taste as much as making this really simple recipe. I think it tastes a bit better, but that's just me. I do me, you do you. So just start clumping it together, and if you did the measurements right, 2.5 cups of flour, 1 cup of water, about 4 tablespoons of sugar, and a dash of salt there. Put in some yeast. So I just, I did a packet of yeast, and I'm not really sure what that translates into. Just call it like 2 tablespoons, somewhere around there, of yeast. All right, it's starting to come together, become more doughy, and then I just start folding and pressing it together. So that's nice and good. Should be a good consistency. It's not, what I got here is not too sticky and not too dry either. It's just a little tacky on the surface. That'll, that's kind of what you're aiming for. You should be able to grab a hold of it with your hands, and it's not like sticking too much. It also should not feel dry. It should just feel a bit moist. It's almost there. You want to really knead it together, activate that yeast. Not sure if this actually activates it or not, or if it's more of the heat that's activating it, but either way. All right, let's fold it a few more times. Feeling like we're towards the end here. Now that it's kind of in a ball, I'm just sort of pinching together all the foldy bits and making sure that it's nice and round. You don't want any significant folds around it because it'll come apart when it's rising. You don't want that. You want it to come together nicely, nice and round. No big folds to it. Little love tap there, just to finish it off. All right, I'm gonna put that away now. Now that I have the bread in the pan, what I wanna do is, you can make whatever pattern you like. What I've been playing with recently are 3 slices, left, center, right, and then across. Left cross, right cross, and just make sure it's down the edges there. So let's see. All right, easy does it. That's that. Looking pretty good. Alright, now we're just going to let it rise. Take the towel from earlier. Oh, maybe I should give that a bit more time. So there it is. It's cut, formed in the pan, ready to go. Pan's all oiled up. That's pretty much it for prep work. Now, I found that roughly, 45 minutes or so is a good rise time with this recipe. And you want it to be kept warm during that time. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to turn the oven on to, 200 and let it just sit there. And then there's like a little vent above the stove that I'll set the pan on. And that heat vent will keep this nice and warm. And I'm going to let that just rise just like that. And I'll come back in 45 minutes. All right, welcome back. I just realized that I'm giving you all kinds of different degree measurements. So when I preheated the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit to warm up the bread, it's in Fahrenheit units, and so now I'm gonna bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna put all kinds of comments on the videos about the different measurements there. So it has been rising now for about 45 minutes, a bit longer. There we are, that's what it looks like, just risen. I'm gonna go ahead and just toss it into the oven now and let it bake away. Not much of a toss, I suppose. And also nice enough is I baked this one a bit earlier, and that's what it looks like when it's done. So black tea bread. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you get to try to make it and let me know how it tastes.